Hello, it is January wrap-up time. I meant to film this a few days ago, but life happened. It got in the way. But we're going to go for it now. And hopefully it's going to be shorter than my last wrap-up. I think the last wrap-up I did was like over half an hour. So yeah, we're going to aim for less. So I read 12 books in January, which is a pretty average month for me. The last 2 years I have read 144 books in the year, so averaging 12 books a month. I don't know, be kind of cool if I got that again, but we'll just see how the year pans out. So let's get to it. So the first book that I read was Double the D by Evie Mitchell. This one is available on Kindle Unlimited and it is a contemporary romance. I think it's a novella. It's certainly quite short. And basically it is about a girl who, when she was younger, had two foster brothers that she had a thing for, and they also had a thing for each other, but for various reasons. She was slightly younger than them, nothing ever came of it. They left town and now they are back and they want her. So I actually read this one because Evie Mitchell was going to be going to RARE, the Romance Author and Reader events in London, and I'd seen someone on the Facebook group had recommended it. Now Evie has since actually cancelled, she's not able to go anymore, but I'm really pleased I read it. It was really fun. It was exactly like what you'd expect with a name like Double the D, and just a great time. So then the next book that I read was also for a RARE author, and that was Broken Mate by Jen L. Gray. So this one starts, our heroine is a wolf shifter, and she is in fact a silver wolf shifter, which is a really rare kind of wolf within her world. And it starts with her pack being attacked and she's the only one that manages to escape. So there's some people that are after her. She runs and runs and comes across some more wolves, primarily in the form of a guy who she meets up with. They agree to pretend to be boyfriend and girlfriend for convenience. So she's trying to hide from what's going on with her pack, and then also dealing with the fact that this guy who's helping her out, she's developing feelings for his best friend, who also has a bad boy reputation. This one was fine. It's really like teen angsty vibes. Like, I think it's new adult paranormal romance, but like it's definitely not YA, but it definitely has that sort of vibes. Also finished on a cliffhanger, which is just not my thing. I'm not sure I'm going to read the next one. Like, yeah, it might happen, but I'm not convinced that I will. But yeah, it was fine. So then after that, I knew I wanted a surefire win, and so I read Adored by Lexi Blake. So this one follows Mitch and Laurel. So they have both been in the Sanctum Knights Masters and Mercenaries series before. So Mitch is the lawyer that is used by the whole security team, and Laurel is Mitch's best friend's sister. This has some tropes in it that normally I would be like, no, but I loved it. It has just so much possessiveness, obsessiveness, denial of things, like the way that her brother acts and everything like that. It was just really, really good and absolutely hit the mark with everything that I wanted. So then after that, I finally picked up a physical book and I read The Mistletoe Motive by Liese. Yep, Christmas in January, why not? Maybe I'll try and read a Christmas book every month this year. Who knows? I've got a few still on my list, so we might go there. But this is again a novella, and this is a workplace romance. So we have got two people who work together in different capacities to run a bookstore, and they have to deal with the fact that she absolutely hates his guts, thinks that he's super annoying. So she's been pretty unhappy since they were paired together to work with each other. And they end up having to strike a bit of a deal to try and save the bookstore that they work for. So this has Own Voices autism rare. So our heroine Gabby is autistic, and that is portrayed absolutely beautifully. We have got like just the balance between them is fantastic. The way that they back and forth against each other, some of the assumptions that they have made about each other, and yeah, it is a fantastic Christmassy workplace romance. Absolutely would recommend that one. So then I read another rare author, again on Kindle Unlimited, and this was A Hint of Delirium by Karina Espinosa. So in this one, our heroine has been raised to think that she's crazy her whole life. She sees things that nobody else does, things just look a bit off, and she's really struggled as a result to hold down a job, and her mum has kind of bought into this thing that yes, you're crazy, you're crazy. And while she is waitressing, she notices a guy who is trying to pay her employer with fake money. Everyone else says, no, it's absolutely fine. So she gets fired from her job for causing a fuss, but she sees the guy again later and he tries to work out how she knew that the money wasn't real. And basically starts to find out that she's not crazy. She has just been seeing some magical goings on. That guy turns out to be Fae, and he has got some interesting things that are going on. He is hunting for something in the human world, that's why that he is there, and his brother is around as well. This one also ends on a cliffhanger, but I might go back to this one. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I might. It's quite interesting, and I think that the way that the story kind of develops is going to be interesting. So yeah, I might go back to that. It was pretty good, but I guess like I'll hold judgment until I read the other two, and then I'll let you know what I think. So then next I read a graphic novel that I borrowed from my library. So I read it on Libby. So on my library, the Libby app, you can pretty much only do like comics, newspapers and graphic novels, but I thought I'd try one. And I tried Sunstone Volume 1. So this is a sapphic BDSM book. I would say like it is a romance, but it's building so slowly that actually like in the first volume they're very much like a friends with benefits kind of arrangement rather than anything else. So it's basically someone who wants to explore the world of BDSM but has never had the opportunity before. And the two of them have been talking online and meet up and give things a go. So initially I was like, it's pretty good. Like I've not really read anything like that before, particularly like with the format. But the more I sat on it, the more annoyed I got. And it was just really fetishy. It was like an FF relationship just for the fetish, and that annoyed me. Really annoyed me as well because for some reason, like in January, this was the only sapphic book I read in January, and that annoys me that a book that wasn't like sapphic for the joy of it, it was sapphic for the fetish. That annoys me, so must do better in February. But yeah, it was fine, and like I'm glad I tried out something from my library. I haven't tried using the Libby app before, so that side of things was good. Next though, we had a lot of excitement. So in the middle of December, Ilona Andrews, they announced that they were going to be releasing a new Kate Daniels book. So this was Magic Tides. So the Kate Daniels series is probably their biggest series. It's not my favourite of theirs, but it is amazing. And it's based around Kate. So it finishes with Magic Triumphs, and there's been a couple of like starts of spin-offs that they're still writing. But this is more actual Kate content. So whereas the others are focused on different characters, This one is back to Kate herself. So it's set a few years after Magic Triumphs, which is the last book in the main series. And it's basically about her life, essentially her in retirement, in a slightly smaller place, trying to fit in, her and her family just trying to get used to the different pace of life, and her not entirely being able to stay away from injustice. We have got magic, we have got shifters, we have got a couple of familiar faces from the series showing up. We have got points of view that we haven't had before in the main books, and honestly, it was just so good. It was so good to be back in this world, to have new Kate content. I am so excited. So this is being labelled as the first book in Kate Daniels' The Wilmington Years. So first book, that means we're going to get more. And they have said that on their website. They've said there's going to be more coming. And yeah, so excited. So from one exciting win to another surefire hit, I then read Archangel's Viper by Nalini Singh. So this is in the Guild Hunter series, and this is one of the paranormal romance ones. So we've kind of got the more urban fantasy part of the series that follows Elena all the way through, and then we've got the paranormal romance ones that follow, so far it's just been different people in the 7, but it's got some of the other characters and their romances within that. So this one is Venom's book, which is why it's the Viper, because he has kind of snaky characteristics, and he is a vampire. And then we have also got Holly, who is someone that he has worked with for a long time, and he's kind of like the only person that gets her. She's kind of not really at peace with who she is and not really at peace with him, but they end up having to work together. Someone is out to kill her and he has to work to both protect her, and the two of them work together to work out what's going on. And it's so good. I mean, I love Nalini Singh. This series, I am just really loving working my way through. I love the world. I love the dynamic between the angels and the vampires. And yeah, this one just had so many cool character bits. Was just generally great. So yeah, another favourite from the month. So the next, something completely different, and this was an absolute impulse borrow from my library. So I read Check Please Volume 1. So this is a YA graphic novel that I've heard other people talk about before, but not really kind of considered reading myself. And then when I went into the library, walking past the YA section, I saw they had volumes 1 and 2, and I was like, right, have to do this. So this series is about Bitty, and he has got a hockey scholarship to his university, but he's also a food vlogger, so he is massive on baking, and the whole thing is sort of told through the lens of his vlog, but then kind of the little bits that happen in between. It works really nice as a format. So it's his struggles to fit in with the team, actually coming out to them as gay, because he's not out with like his family or anything like that, and his struggles around there, and then also as it starts to go through, he develops feelings for one of his teammates and the struggles he has with feeling that one-sided pain. It's really cute, and yeah, it's definitely like, if you're in the right mood for it, it's a really nice one to read. And lots of hockey. Always love lots of hockey. Then, because I had been reading a YA graphic novel, I needed something that was pure smut. So I read Once Upon a Dream by Sierra Simone. And this is one that I had picked up the ebook for free. And it's 3 novellas that are kind of based on fairy tales in different ways. I read this because it sounded like it was going to be hot. And it was hot. So we have got an MF romance where she also brings all her fellow ballerinas into play a few times, and then we have got an FFM at the end. So that one, we've got two female friends who decide that it's finally time for them to try things out together, and then a stranger comes and throws things into the mix, and they decide that that works out quite well too. It's not one to read if you want plot, I will say, or any sense of character to develop or anything. But if what you need is a hit of smut, it's great. All right, last two books. So this was pretty amazing. I finished the month with 2 5-star reads. So the first one of these was Always Practice Apex by Juliette Cross. So this is book 4 in the Stay a Spell series, and our main characters here, so we've got Livy, who is one of the sisters that the series is based around. So she's a witch, and she's an influencer witch, so she can kind of manipulate people's feelings in that way. And then we have also got Gareth, who is a Grimm, and the Grimms are kind of discussed in the series as like everyone feels a bit uneasy around them, but no one really understands what they're all about. So the concept of these two was trailed. So there was mention in the last main book, in Violet and Nico's book, of Livy having problems with someone that she was trying to work with. And then in the anthology book, Walking in a Witchy Wonderland, there was also a preview of what was happening. So basically, Livy and Gareth have both entered a competition to work for a firm promoting a charity, and there's some really good prizes in terms of exposure, in terms of catapulting their marketing careers and things like that off the back of it. But it does mean that they have to work together, and they struggle to work together because they just drive each other absolutely nuts. And it's amazing. It is like, the plot is great, the characters are great, it's hot as hell. It has so many like little things that I love in books. He has telekinetic powers, which I always love. I don't know why, it's one of my favourite magical powers, so I might do a telekinesis video at some point. I'm quite tempted. But just generally, like, I love this series, and the family, the sisters, are all absolutely hilarious. You get the little nods to the earlier books and kind of all the characters and the family vibes and all the guys going together, as well as the little trials for the next book, which I'm really looking forward to as well. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this series and I'm just enjoying it so much, and this was another great one in there. And then finally, after a few months break from reading the first one, I read Murder of Crows, which is the second book in the Others series by Anne Bishop. So this is kind of an urban fantasy series. So their world is very similar to ours, but the concept is that you've got humans who are confined to part of the world, and then you had the others who were kind of your magical powers, so your shifters, your vampires and things like that. And we're not talking like your cuddly shifters, we're talking like your really, really hardcore shifters who think that humans are a really nice snack, that kind. But as humans decided to expand out and conquer the rest of the world, they then encountered the others and obviously then had to try and work with them. So this series is focusing around Meg, who is on the run in the first book. So she's got some people who are trying to hunt her down, and then this is kind of continues on from there. So it has her life, like she's continuing with her job, the people that she works with, and facing the aftermath of some of the things that happened towards the end of the first book, but also her relationships with some of the people that she's with are kind of evolving because things change. You know, she was very much an outsider in the first book, whereas the events that happened have made everyone kind of a lot closer to her, and I just really loved it. I really want to get the next one now and carry on reading, because yeah, it definitely hit the spot for me. So there you go. That's the 12 books that I read in January. Let me know if you've got any thoughts on any of these, or if there's anything that you read, any series you think that I should continue as well. And yeah, I have managed to make this under half an hour, so I will take that. I have got a couple of trope recommendation videos planned that hopefully I will get filmed within the next few days or a week, and I will see you soon.